Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome to this new episode of Next Lifestyle Changes. Today, we talk about new trends in hospitality. And to do it, we have three very important guests, three of the most important players in the sector worldwide, from New York, Paris, and Milan. Because that all of them, they are valuable members of Medelhan, and that Medelhan would like to work with the best. And also, I would like to start with the moderator, because as moderator, I have the honor to have as moderator a special guest that is Gwendoline Theodet, the Director of Business Development for Campbell House. So today, really, we have a special guest. I know already the topics of the day. They're very, very interesting. So I don't want to waste too much time, too long time with my introduction. So Gwendoline, thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and I give the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gwendoline Theodet. Yes, I'm the Regional Director of Business Development at Campbell House. Campbell House is an interior design firm with studios in the US and in Paris. And we are very active in Europe, in Middle East, and in America with hospitality, F&B, residential and office project. And I am also the president of the Paris chapter of NEWH. NEWH is the hospitality network bringing together the design community. So I'm very glad to moderate this panel today because I think we're going to have a very exciting discussion on the latest changes in hospitality and the way they impact the work of the designer and how hotels are created. We have seen lots of trends that are accelerated this past years, and some new changes also are emerging. So the environment is completely changing, and there are very important aspects now, like sustainability, like technology or flexibility, just to name a few, that are becoming even more important and to take into consideration in the work of the designer. And on top of that, there's the pandemic, the economical situation and the political situation, the climate change. All this has an impact on the hospitality landscape and on the project themselves and how hotels are created. So there's a lot to cover. We only have 1 hour, I think, and I hope we'll make the most out of it. This panel and this discussion will be split into two parts. In the first part, we will go through some projects that our panelists have recently completed, and they will walk us through some very nice hotels openings. And in the second part, we'll raise some questions to our panel. So if you have any question, just don't hesitate. There's a chat, so you can put your questions, and we will raise them at the end of the session. But we will start with introducing our panel, and I think the easiest is to let my panelists introduce themselves. Ladies first, I will start with you, Borina, if you can in a few words introduce yourself.
Thank you, Gwendoline. Thank you, Roberto. I think I'm extremely happy to be with you all. And so my name is Borina Andrieu. I'm the managing director of Wilmotte Associated Architects. So we are well-known, modestly, practice, 260 people from about 30 nationalities, and we are working in about 30 countries, which is not that often that it happens. And so my life is very often on the plane. But so we are not really specialized in anything, but we do architecture, interior design, lots of museums, urban planning and industrial design, which makes us able to complete our projects with some really personal touch, but I'm going to talk about all this later on. So about me, I'm a very international person as well, multilingual and interested in very many things. So I've been working at Wilmotte for almost 19 years.
And always traveling, apparently, Borina. You're in the car now.
Well, you know, I caught the virus, so it's very hard. It's very hard to give up. No, but I think it's, you know, you have to be on the road because it gives you, and that's why I love hotels, because this is the only way to feel at home, and sometimes even better than at home.
True. Tiziano, if you can introduce yourself and your firm as well in a few words before we start.
Thank you, Gwendoline. We are an architecture design practice based in Milano and Shanghai. We are 40 people, much smaller than Wilmotte. We are an agency deeply rooted into the, say, Milanese modern design culture. Every architect knows it, but Ernesto Rogers, our famous master from the 50s, he used the statement to define the peculiarity of the Milanese architects. He said, from the spoon to the city, and this is us. We designed in the last 20 years, I would say, social housing, down to up to high-end villas, apartment buildings, factories, offices, art galleries, because I'm a huge passionate of contemporary art. I have a good network in that field, and high-end retail spaces and food and beverage and hospitality, which are basically our core businesses, frankly. We designed, I think, 45 worldwide design concepts for high-end fashion brands from Italy, France, and England, basically. And 25 restaurants. I am a restaurant owner as well with my wife and friends. And we are at the moment in 7 or 8, I think, different hotel designs, meaning from a 5-room hotels in a room in a church in Canada, outside Montreal, to 140 rooms in Austria in the Alps. So it's really very, very various, but we are not specialized. That's the thing. And it's claimed as a quality.
Very, very clear and impressive. It's yeah. I'm looking forward to see your presentation, Tiziano. And Pierre, please introduce yourself and Jeffrey as well.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Pierre Josselin. I'm obviously from France as well, but I moved to the States 14 years ago. Before moving to the States, I graduated design in Paris. Then I moved to London and then finally made it to the States. It was kind of a dream of mine to be in New York City. I worked for various firms, including Associés for 10 years, then Wimbledon Interiors. And finally, 6 years ago, I joined Jeffrey International. We are a 50-people studio based in New York City, but we have a global reach. And we're specialized in various sectors of hospitality, restaurants, clubs as well, but we do as well casino, cruise ships. So it's a large array of projects. We are very multidisciplinary and doing residential as well.
So apparently everyone is not specialized anymore in one type of project. When we hear Tiziano, Borina, and you, everyone is bringing many different aspects and from all of the industry in the project, which is great. We will start with you, Pierre, and with your project Hard Rock Hotel in New York that was opened in May, so very recently. And well, it's a true celebration of the music. So I will let us walk through the hotel and explain the genesis, and if we have time, we'll raise a few questions on this great and fantastic project.
Thank you. So Jeffrey Beers designed the Hard Rock Hotel in New York. We won the competition in 2016, and we worked on them since, and it opened last month. So it's been a labor of love for sure. It's a great property located in the district of Times Square, and it's hard rock. It's on 48th Street, which used to be Music Row. So there's a great history of music and references. So that's what really drives the overall concept. And of course, being in Times Square, it's an entertainment center of almost the world, right? So the hotel, when you walk in, you're greeted by, you enter, this is like you pass the revolving doors, and this is the first space you see. So it transports you from Times Square, the craziness of Times Square, to a beautiful space, double volume, and everything is inspired by music. The key color tone in the hotel is the blue. It's really inspired by the nights going down and the lights coming up in Times Square and the marquee theaters. You go up the stairs, you see the marble pattern on the floor is inspired by the sound wave extending from the center, and the floating staircase is almost suspended by guitar strings. Then you arrive on the upper floor where you have the lounge on a small corner, which is the reception lobby. It's just much smaller scale, which is supposed to be more like residential and take you away from the craziness of Times Square. A lot of references to music, an amazing collection of records behind the reception desk create an artwork background. And this is the lounge. So it's really designed as if you were inside the guitar, all the curvature, the sound, the sound control walls, panel walls with wood and memorabilia. And then you have access to outdoor space as well. And this is a venue really for live music and unplugged sessions. Then on the ground floor as well, you have open to the guests, you have the Yankee restaurant, which is the Yankee Steakhouse, New York Yankees. So it's in collaboration with the baseball team. So you have signatures on the wall of famous players. It's really warm tone. And then the signature Yankee blue lounge chairs with baseball stitching, and famous players in an artistic form. There is a subterranean venue, two-level venue, which is much more like inspired by the speakeasy era and great performances. So it's very rich, it's very warm. The lights on the column, it's like the paparazzi taking pictures and such. So it's every detail is put through with music elements. The guardrail is the fork tuning of the guitar detail. Then you have the rooftop bar, which is very center of the building with views on south and north of Midtown. And as well here, it's very inspired by the guitar, the strings of the guitar and such. Then you have the rooms. It's 446 rooms, so it's a pretty large property. But the rooms are very small. So it's this is a suite. It was in the average size of a room is 25 square meters, 200 square feet. As well, it's how can we make the guest feel like he's a rock star? So everything like reflects music. It's the projector of light on the carpet, is the sound wave music inspired on the headboard. And then the color as well, the deep blue contrast with the gold of the light to make it feel very rich. Use of glass to reflect the space and make the room feel larger than they really are. And then, of course, the strong memorabilia here, it's Bruce Springsteen's printed on the glass door. So it's not just cute moment, it's really part of the architecture. And this is the bathroom with that rich feeling of marble and glass and gold glass elements. And then all the millwork is high gloss blue lacquer. And this is the Rockstar Suite. So this is the gem at the top of the building. It's a big entertainment space, it's double volume, and then a huge terrace, which is almost the larger entertaining terrace in New York City. And of course, here it's to make you feel part of something really special. We used more like the gold and rich red tones with classic bronze detailing. It has its own bar, dining venue, and it can be rented out for private events if you want to. And this is the bathroom, and one of the key elements is the red bathtub we've used in the master bathroom. So it's all about music and making the guest feels really like a rock star.
Looks like, huh? Music is everywhere, yes?
Yeah, yep. And that's the private terrace. So that's the New York Times Square in a nutshell.
That's really impressive, and I believe 6 years after you started, you must be so thrilled to see this project completed and open.
For sure, like hospitality project takes so long, and then COVID didn't help, and then and it was a thrill to be able to walk the space, and it stayed true to our initial vision, which is pretty amazing to see.
Coming back here to the initial vision, so this is a Hard Rock hotel, which is a very strong brand with a very strong identity. So how much freedom were you given in the process, and how much was the operator involved in the development of the creative process?
So actually, we're given pretty much a lot of freedom. It was all about make sure that it reflects the Hard Rock brand and it celebrates music in New York City. So from that, they follow the design. They were very supportive of it, and it was a great collaboration. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we see when we see the result, yes, it's we believe it was a fruitful collaboration indeed. And you mentioned that the construction, of course, was during the pandemic. How did that affect the collaboration and the way you managed the suppliers and the contractor for this specific project? Was it there was a change, or was it like for other projects?
No, it was the same as other projects in a sense that it slowed down, of course, and construction stopped in New York City with the pandemic. So it was a bit behind, but it came back pretty quickly, actually. So we managed to stay semi on track with their schedule. Okay.
Here we see one of the we just saw one F&B venue. There are many F&B venues on this hotel, and they all seem to have very specific identity. So you created very distinctive identity for each venue, but yet it's still in line with the overall concept. So how did you achieve that? Did you have different teams, or how did you make sure that each venue would have a distinctive design?
You have like a studio overlooking every part of the project to make sure it's cohesive. And then we had different teams tackling different spaces. So it was a team doing the restaurant. It was another team doing the rooms, and another team doing the F&B, like the bars and the speakeasy venue.
And for this one, were you given any specific brief from the operator?
They have our New York Yankees, so it was a strong collaboration. It was first designed as a restaurant, and then New York Yankee came in, so we infused the element in the design. So some element like the stool and the chair are signature New York Yankee element.
That's very special to work and to infuse with some sports team in a bar. I have a last question. It's not really a question, but so we see it's very an immersive design. Was there any specific playlist developed to be played in the hotel, and if so, were you involved with the development of the playlist, or did that impact the way you designed?
Actually, no, not that I'm aware of. It was very New York centric. So I'm sure if there's a playlist, it's all about somehow relating to New York, like the memorabilia as well. It's all about New York playing, artists playing in New York, or some kind of relationship to New York.
Thank you, Pierre. I'm trying to be savvy and careful of time. So thank you again. We'll have time to discuss later and raise other questions. We will now go to some projects of Wilmotte Associés. Borina has prepared two projects to share with us. They are very different project. The first one is Maison Riviera in Roquebrune in the south of France near Monaco. And the other one is the Lutetia, the iconic Lutetia Hotel in Paris. Borina, if you can explain a little bit the choice of these two very different projects, and give us the main drivers for each project.
Thank you, Gwendoline. Do you see my screen?
We
or
can
not?
see your screen, but we don't see the presentation yet.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah, now we can see the presentation. It's
so you know, I wanted to tell you one thing. We do lots of, you know, Jean-Michel founded the studio in '75, so we went through different kind of experiences. But those two hotels, for me, really, there's something that is very representative for the way we design stuff. And I will show you some images before and after. So this is a very iconic place in the south of France between Monaco and Menton. It's in a little city called Roquebrune Cap Martin. And it's a historical hotel, which is from the 60s, which was called Vista Aero. Everybody knew this hotel. So a few years ago to review the hotel. So this is what we had. So the building here, we decided to keep just the central building, which is the historical building, because everything else was added afterwards. And you see here on the left-hand side, lots of...
The connection is not that great.
You cannot see?
Well, we cannot hear properly. The connection is not that great, Borina.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but you know, I can't do anything better. We don't have, right here, there is no Wi-Fi. So let's try to do the thing. So do you see the images, which is much more interesting?
We can see.
So you see, at the top, you see the building that has been finished. And then we did 3 types on the top of the hill. We have what we call the troglodyte suites. There are suites that they were carved in the rock, and then rooms, hotel rooms that were done to be really contextualized as maximum as possible to the site. So almost the construction disappear in profit of the landscape, which is one of our very, big achievements. So this is the construction itself. It was very hard because you are on the top of a hill, which is quite fragile, with people underneath very concerned. So it was a long process, getting the building permit, securing it, and then building it. We did this with the firm called Vinci. So you see now how it looks. It's really something quite magical. In this environment, we worked with a very big landscaper from the south of France called Jean Mus. And then you see, this looks like a 3D image, but it's a real image of the hotel. So this is the top part, and this is the outside from Menton side. When you have a drink or a meal, we have a very great restaurant by Mauro Colagreco, who was chosen as one of the best restaurants in the world last year. And so it's a magical place. So the only thing I can tell you, go and see. We didn't do the interior design of this hotel because there was a kind of another vision, but we added lots of art and the landscape, which is one of our main topics when we work on any project. It can be a stadium or an office building or a housing, but also this is our main trend. Another hotel that it's a completely another story, it's the Lutetia, the iconic hotel, as you said, from Paris, which was delivered just before the pandemic nightmare period. And it's 187 rooms. It's a hotel that was built in 1910, and then with some addition of 1925. So it's really between Art Nouveau and Art Deco. And we redid completely the hotel in the sense that we improved the facades, the accesses, and everything inside. We couldn't touch too much because it's a protected listed building and historical monument. And then we try to give a very specific touch in the interior design. So everything went from the original design. We discovered lots of frescoes under different layers of plaster because the Hotel Lutetia had a very, very famous history. Unfortunately, first of all, it was fortunately a place that all the musicians, artists, painters, sculptors used to go. Then during the World War II, it was the headquarters of the Gestapo, which was a very black area. But the positive side is that when the war finished in 1945, all the people that arrived from the camps, they found the refuge in this hotel. So there is a very, very kind of terrible history, but full of emotions and passions. So everyone had a person that was related to the Lutetia. So here it's the reception desk that was completely designed ad hoc, and all the flooring that you see is in stone with the specific details that we found in, when we were studying all the history of the hotel. So this light fixtures was designed by us, 2.5 meters of diameter. There are 2 of them, and they were fabricated in Italy by Vistosi. Here you see one part of the spa, Calacata d'Oro, with all the light fixtures have been designed by us. Actually, everything which is in the hotel, besides few furniture, was designed by our studio, Wilmotte, and industry. So this is how one of the dining rooms looked in 1910. So this is how we discovered that there were some frescoes. Then there was a period that was not very, I would say, beautiful. But when we arrived and the client really gave us carte blanche, so we discovered all those frescoes, restored them, and designed a very special light fixture that you see on the top. And it was done by Poriform. And the bar, this is the bar Josephine, because Josephine Baker used to be here. And you see how beautiful the frescoes are, doing a perfect Art Nouveau. So it's a very popular place. And here you have a special thing that we dug 17 meters deep to put the spa and the swimming pool under the existing hotel. So the real construction work was really, really tough. And the nature light is entering this spa. So as I told you, we have lots of artwork accompanying our work. We are in the Salon Saint-Germain. You see the historical rooftop, glass rooftop was changed, and we had an intervention by the contemporary artist Fabrice Ibert, and we have 2 sculptures by Hikili, and but everything else, all the furniture, all the lighting, all the chairs, even the carpets was designed by us. So this is one of the bedrooms. So you have two typology of bedrooms. One it's on the street and one is on the courtyard. The one on the street, they are all blue. So again, you have, the desk, everything has been done on purpose, even the little spots and the little lisers here by Artemide. And this is the elevators. Actually, those are the new elevators. They are glass ones, absolutely beautiful. And you have a vision in the internal courtyard that we created, absolutely. And so this is one of the images of the corridors, and you have this atmosphere of a big ship, that because that the motto of Paris, the Paris's old name was Lutetia, and the motto of Lutetia, it swims but never sinks. So this is a little kind of clin d'oeil to the history of Paris. So sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Borina. These are two very beautiful and impressive projects. You were talking about arts and crafts for both projects, and they are indeed very distinctive in each project and very important. And I was wondering how early in the process do you involve artists and craftsmen, and how do you work with them? How do you collaborate?
We involve them very early, because usually Jean-Michel Wilmotte, when he starts a project, he's the one who gives the first gesture, usually on rice paper or tracing paper with a blue pen, and it starts from there. Then we give it to an architect or interior designer, or both of them. Usually we do this in combination. We have always, an architect, interior designer, and the designer studio working together. I have to tell you that we have offices in London, in Milan, in Korea, in south of France, in Senegal, because we do big projects. Otherwise, we always collaborate with the local architects, which is a big plus. But through this channel, we find people in the country that we are working, and we're trying to introduce these very local elements. And for instance, we have a several projects, but we have one project right now in Jerusalem for the same owner that owns the Lutetia, and also another project in Dakar in Senegal. Each time we are going to pick different materials, different artists, different way of implementing, because I think our role is to be as contextual as possible.
Yeah, it's true, and it's becoming. I mean, it's becoming now a demand from the clients themselves.
Of course, because this is the best way to make your hotel unique.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Borina. We will now look at the project of Vudafieri, Saverino Partners, the Milano Vertical Hotel, which is the flagship hotel of the Una Group that has opened this year. I don't know which month this year, Tiziano, and I will let you.
You don't know what?
I don't know which year the hotel opened.
It opened last year.
Last year, okay. I thought it was this year. So I will let you share your screen, and
very bad at that. I will be there. Do you see it?
Yeah, now we can see your screen. Okay. And let us explain this very specific project where it's everything seems to be very integrated.
Yes, it is somehow. So let's say, first of all, we are story listeners before being storytellers, and we listen a lot. Borina was saying the same thing, and I agree completely. We are totally different every time, but this by chance is a sort of an application of what I said before. It's as the Lutetia is in Paris and it is deeply Parisian, this project is deeply Milanese. It's as simple as this. It's a claimed celebration of Milanese modern design masters in a contemporary way, obviously, not in a vernacular sort of way. This building was an existing building. It is an entire city block from the 70s. And it has a different landlord compared to our customer, to our client, because it's the same company, but it is a real estate company owning the hotel, belonging to the same holding, and the hotel owner. So the building scheme has been designed by Paolo Asti, by a colleague, while we were in charge of outdoor spaces, landscape, interior architecture, interior design, and say up down to soft decoration. I mean, FF&E and OS&E, everything. It is a celebration because this is the lobby. It's all these multicolored marbles. To us, it's Joe Ponti completely, designed and used in a very, very weird way. But this is, to me, what it is and why it is there and why it is in this picture. The stone is the Ceppo stone, which is known only in Milan because it exists only in the north of Milan, and half of the buildings of after the Second World War, they are made with this stone. Let's say the pattern as well is very Milanese. We wanted to talk about Milanesità, about being Milanese, and attract a specific type of customers, also from the city. And this is why I will talk briefly in, this is about Milanesità, etc., etc. We had the possibility to design a fantastic garden, which was not a garden when we found it. This is the block. It's very connected in the city. It's in a very, say, alive, lively part of the city, nighttime and daytime, near Corso Como 10, etc., etc. It's next door. This is why we wanted to, I say always, when we design food and beverage and hospitality, we design relationships on two different levels. The relationship between the building and the city, and this is the first one, and then the relationship between the people living, using the hotel inside. I go quickly, say, on the first level, I go back. On the first level, sorry, there, I'm very bad. On the first level, I give you just some examples. We have a huge arcade, and we extended the business of the cafeteria and bar with a sort of indoor-outdoor kiosk, which is in the arcades. And this is to be implemented in this moment. They are starting, but we want to feel, even if it is very, very big, we want to fill the arcades with tables, and there is a bar outside, basically. And this is a street with a tram, etc., etc., etc. So this is one thing. The second is that we designed a parking lot within the area of the hotel, which is reserved to car sharing companies. I mean, it's only reserved for them, and you don't need to go to the hotel, to the bar, to the restaurants, etc. It's reserved. We want to interact with people using sustainable mobility. And this is a dialogue that it's always between the hotel and the city. Say inside, another example, we are using the lobby space as an exhibition space. And we are not doing like anyone else in Milan, doing exhibitions about design, objects, fashion, etc., etc. We are celebrating mechanics, high-tech companies, industry from the region of Milan. We did a fantastic exhibition showing the Formula One brakes from Brembo as they were sculptures. We did a fantastic exhibition with Riva speedboats, Moto Guzzi, but only with the components of the motorbikes. So, I mean, high-level mechanics. And this is very surprising, and people come from outside only to see this. We have a project also that will be implemented starting from September, where we say we transform the breakfast space into office space during daytime. It looks like something that is everybody else is trying to do. These abandoned spaces, etc., etc., etc. It's a very beautiful space with natural lighting. I find you see Milano everywhere here. I don't think we need to explain that much. And then I talk a little bit with about the garden. This is the breakfast space overlooking the garden behind. These abandoned spaces, I mean, we are doing a program to catch young startups, people that have the office in the outskirts, young companies, and we give them a space during daytime in the center of Milan. They order something to eat, they stay there, they make these spaces alive, and they make it living. And it's a specific program. We are like selecting the companies, offering free rents, etc., in order to have nice people living in the hotel during the day.
Here we are right into flexibility, huh?
Yes, absolutely. And creating new little businesses inside, not only facilities of the hotels, obviously. And I know that you want to ask me about that. There is also a fantastic chef inside, managing the restaurants, etc., etc. Then I will go back to the rooms, but what we had.
I will ask you to maybe to speed a little bit if we want to have time to ask questions.
I'll go. We found what was a concrete slab, because it was the roof of a parking lot, and we transformed into a fantastic garden. We designed different levels of soil. We celebrate the roots of the high trees. Now the garden is much higher. It's really quite incredible. We hide the ventilation grids, etc., etc. And what is quite strong, and I see it today more than 8 months ago, is that we asked our consultants in plants to imagine the wildest plant mix they can imagine and they can put in the center of a town. And this garden today is incredible because it's really wild, but urban somehow. Rooms are obviously celebrating Franco Albini and Caccia Dominioni, all these masters that, I mean, they designed Milano as we love it. And that's it.
That's beautiful. It's
there are beautiful terraces on private terraces. There are 4 terraces of 200 square meters each on the very last floor. And that's it. There.
Yeah, it's incredible because you all three had so different different projects and different approach, and creating and addressing different different needs. It's very impressive. We will have some time. We have 15 minutes left to raise a few questions for you all. I see that there's one question already in the chat. Don't hesitate if you have any question to raise. I wanted to start with one question for all, because I was wondering how you foresee the future of hospitality and the changes that are coming and that will have a bigger impact in your work. What for you will be the next change? Maybe who wants to start first? Pierre?
Sure. Hospitality is always evolving, right? It's always changing and new challenges. I think with COVID, it's really part of creating new experiences and creating a sense of adventure and escapism where you go somewhere. Before, the hotel is not so much just the accommodation where you go. It's almost like it's becoming a destination on its own. So it's creating spaces which makes the guest wants to be there and take advantage of it, and a sense of wellness and calm as well. Like it's very hectic out there. So without becoming necessarily only like a green hotel or a wellness and a spa hotel, is how you infuse those moments of serenity in the design you do, for sure.
Yeah, and it's true that we that's a red thread that we saw in all of your projects. That's for sure. Tiziano or Borina, maybe you have something to add on this topic. What? Yes, Tiziano.
I do it. I agree completely with Pierre, obviously. May I add something which is an obsession in all the hotel projects we do, and this has to do with what I was saying. The hotel today should be open and welcome the people from the same place, as well as business travelers and tourists. The hotel today should be a hub, a social place, as they were, as it was the Lutetia in the early 20s. I mean, they were social places, business meeting. You go there, you work, you enjoy, you go at the spa, but it's not only for foreigners or for travelers. That's the difference, at least the city hotels, obviously, because if you are...
That's what you say when you're sitting, that you are designing relationship. I really like this one.
This is
makes sense.
Exactly what.
Borina?
I think it's as Pierre said, and Tiziano, we're on the same page. It's something that is changing, but when you go to a country, the first thing that you really meet is the hotel, and the last thing that you're going to take with you in your memories is the hotel. So there is something really very important about that, because it's a kind of identity, it's a refuge, it's a place to live. As I said, you have to feel at home, but even better than home. And so to us, interior designers, architects, artists, landscaper, to make it really homey, but a little bit different, because you have this interest to go there. And everything happened, first of all, with that appears Airbnb. Airbnb changed quite a lot of people ways to visit the country and to stay in a hotel. Then you have the COVID kind of the pandemic changed completely also the things with the fear to go to a place that is not going to be clean, or that they were closed. And then I think if the hotel brings this touch of what I told you, uniqueness, even in a big chains like Four Seasons or Marriott, or I don't know, any hotel of the group Accor, you have a kind of chart. But if you have this local touch that it's really present, then you make something unique. And you can't do it without the local arts and crafts and the local spaces, the local food. And it has to be easygoing. Nobody wants to go anymore to certain palaces. Even, we designed Hotel Cheval Blanc in Saint-Tropez. We've designed lots of 5-star hotels. That's not anymore about the stiffness. It's something that becomes comfortable, but not to show off. I mean, generally speaking, there's always a kind of exception.
Yeah, you bring me to my next question, because I wanted to ask you, three of you, how do you think the designers can impact the changes in the hospitality industry, and how designers can support or not the choices of the brands they make to implement some changes in their operation or the way they developed projects? What is your word on that and on the role of a designer?
Well, first advice is always listen to your brand. Like, if the brand wants to go somewhere, challenge them. But I think Tiziano said something very interesting when he's like, we are story listeners. Listen to the people and react to them. You don't have to do exactly what you're told. You have to respond and elevate the debate, right? But listen to things. And I think very unique as well. There's so many brands nowadays. So what Borina was saying is true. Like, how do you make this project very unique? And it's becoming even more and more challenging with so many brands around. And what we can help is working on so many different brands. We know what makes them different from each other. So that's where we can help the brand. And after that, it's really creating moments where, you know, if it's about a guest or someone coming to work, designing a space where they can do that in the right environment and in an inspiring environment. If they come to the hotel to have a business meeting, maybe you create a beautiful library or such. So it's really listening to the program and reacting to it, but it's never just us coming up with the idea. It's always like collaboration between owners, brand, and other consultants.
I'd say the same thing in another way. Our work, because I agree, obviously, is a sort of dowel in a wider mosaic, in a wider strategy. Obviously, we are a part of a strategy that must start from the client and from the brand or the owner of the hotel. Obviously, in hotel and hospitality, our work is much more important than retail, for example. I mean, if you have Hermes and you have the product which is king and the story of Hermes, etc., you have to be good, because design retail is a science somehow also. But in hotel, it's even much more important, because all you sell is service and atmosphere. And in this thing, we have to be, I mean, every component should be consistent. I mean, there is a hotel in Paris, a simple hotel that I like very much, not for the design necessarily, but because the strategy was just perfectly executed, the Hoxton. You go at the Hoxton and it is a social club for 30 to 40 people living there all the day, working with their computer, drinking coffees or wine on this and that, everywhere. It's an incredibly lively space. Beyond the rooms, they are nice, they are okay, the area is okay, etc. But the way they executed the program to transform this place in a sort of social place for a specific type of people, it's amazing. And this is, I mean, you can do the most beautiful design in the world, but then if the client doesn't have the strength to execute the strategy down to service, I don't know, it's an alchemy at the end.
It is, and all you want is to well, for owners to make revenue and to have guests coming to your place. So that's true. And Hoxton is indeed always full of people working there. Borina, you had something to add.
No, I mean, I absolutely agree with that. You know, I was thinking also of the notion of serendipity when we speak about hotel business today. It's something that it's related, you know where actually the word serendipity came. It came from an old Persian fairy tale called Trips and Adventures of Three Princes of Serendip. So it was how they discover different things. It's a little bit of simplification what I'm saying, but I think when you arrive in a hotel, you don't have to forget that the first thing, it's about hospitality. So you have to host and welcome the person. So the service is fundamental. But if the service is really accompanied by good design, you show that people care. It can be a one-star, very simple hotel, but you have nice bed, clean bed, nice shower, and a flower that welcomes you. It's sometimes enough. So it's not about luxury. I think luxury, it's in the spaces, in the lights, in the, the fact that you can turn your bedroom into the office space, that you can do a big press conference or whatever, or you have a tiny little, for instance, myself, I like small rooms. I like small rooms because you feel very, kind of cocooned. But everything, it's about welcoming. And don't forget about the main purpose of hotels, the hospitality.
Yeah, you nailed it. And it's true that there are some changes or technology or things that we bring that will have impact also on the operation and on the way the hotel will be operated. So how do you as designer make sure that this will work also on the day-to-day? Because it's great to implement the technology, but how to make sure that it works also for the people running the hotel?
Nice.
Go ahead, Borina, go ahead.
We're not sure at all.
No, the thing is that there are two things. I mean, technology, it's very good. I mean, technology, it's perfect when it works. But who of you haven't been to a place that you arrive, you don't know how to switch off the lights to go to sleep? I mean, this is terrible. I think it has to be easy to use. It's easy to use for the people that are staying there, but also it has to be easy for maintaining. And what we design usually, it's thought about that. I mean, how to do things that the corridor is not going to be scratched the first 2 days of, running the hotel or things like this. So technology, it's something that enters in the space, but it has to be backed up by some, I would guess, some normal solutions. The second thing about technology is that actually the hotel experience starts on internet when you start booking your stay. And everything which is related to this image by internet, web, or site or something like that, it has to be related to the design of the hotel. The flavor of that should be present since the beginning. And the third thing I wanted to say, it's the new kind of hotels that, you have trains, you have boats, you have even now a boat that it's going with a spa, your spa on the Seine River. So, everything can be different, but again, don't forget the human parameter more than a technological one.
Totally agree. Pierre, you had something to say also on that.
Yeah, the technology has to be easy. There's as well generational, right? The new traveler, obviously, they're a bit younger than us. They know better. It's more intuitive for them. For us, for me, technology is terrible. Like the less technology, the better. I wish I had a car where it's like still old school when you have to roll up the windows and such. It's really using it with a strategy at the key point. And as well, it's always evolving. So it's becoming tricky because it's like by the time by the time you implement something, the technology has changed tremendously already. So it's really finding those key elements which works, but not overusing it. Or Alphabet, the guest won't use it anyway. So it's really about being strategic about how you use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always wondering why, everybody is saying the same thing, because Borina before and you, Pierre, afterwards. I mean, we get crazy in every hotel in the world nearly to turn on and off the lightings in the room. We scream against this technocrat sort of projects, and nothing changes. I mean, I love the Hoxton once more because it's on and off, and that's it. And it's fantastic. It's well designed and it works. I mean, you don't need more than that. But in every hotel in China, you find these crazy systems, and it's really, I mean, a very bad souvenir. A very bad.
And I think, yeah.
The funny part is we've been, all of us have been doing it for more than 20 years. And I can tell you the next project will still have the lighting conversation. How is the lighting going to work? And guess what? Nobody agrees, and it's still a struggle.
I mean, I'm against domotics.
Yeah.
On off is the answer.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we nearly reached the time. We have one question from the audience. I will ask the question. It's on landscape, and the question is from Michel Martins, who is asking how is important for a hospitality structure to be in touch with the landscape and the local architecture, and do you think it is better to innovate or to respect the pre-existing? Borina, maybe you want to start with this question, and I don't know if Tiziano and Pierre want to jump after on the question.
Actually, this is one of the things that I said about the Maybourne Hotel in the south of France, is that the main thing was the integration in the landscape. So what we did actually, we reconstructed the existing before the old addings of the hotel, the ancient hotel, were done. So, I mean, it's a very important question because, first of all, you have to respect what already is. You have to enhance it. So take the best one of it, enhance it, and add something to make it even more. But it has to be a kind of transition, a very smooth transition. And as I told you, we are unable to do a project without have the landscape integrated since the very beginning. Even though the project can be very small, it's very important. And the same is valuable for the artwork.
And when we look at the project, it seems easy, but it's not.
Oh, it's not easy at all. And it's very costly, by the way. But it's another story. We're not going to talk about budget. Not now, anyway.
I agree with Borina. I mean, we're doing a hotel in the south of Sicily where, I mean, we are on the seaside and the landscape is key. I mean, we cannot touch it. Talking about respecting what is existing, I mean, yes, of course, when it is worth, we have to respect it and maybe restore it as it is a Michelangelo artwork. But then what you add must be modern. I believe very much in dialectic. I mean, no fake, obviously, no folkloristic.
No way.
Yeah, of course, I know we all agree, but this is important. What you add should be clearly modern, and the dialogue between modern and historical is the strength. I have no time to talk about artworks, which is another
If I may add just one thing, when I was talking about preservation and things like this, I was talking about the landscape, which is really important. But when we come up to architecture, of course, we do what we call the architectural graft, means that we combine old and new. This is what we did in the Maybourne, but we keep roots and then we do a completely contemporary kind of adding. And Tiziano is absolutely right, but we are so much on the same page. I'm gonna see you in Milano next time, Tiziano, because we have a big discussion about Albini and Gioponti and Gardella.
Let's keep in touch. I will ask Elena to
Caccia Dominioni, yeah, and
I will
Pierre,
ask
also
Elena.
with you. I just came back from New York. Sorry that I didn't know that you were there because I would have dropped in next time.
No problem, but I will ask Elena to put us in touch.
Yeah, to put us, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Pierre, before we close the session, unfortunately, did you have anything to add on this question?
Yeah, the landscape for us, we don't necessarily work on big landscape things, but I think landscape is really much of an art. And I would say, like, even if you have a small terrace and it's just a few planters, like bringing a landscape designer can really elevate the design. And, we work on projects where we're building like new park above ground, above a train station, and they're developing a tower. And we're trying to bring art as well. So it's really, it speaks to each other, artwork and landscape for sure. Yeah, every consultant make the design, and it's a teamwork. That's for sure. Unfortunately, I had still plenty of questions, but we reached the time, so we will have to close this session. Thank you again. It was a brilliant discussion and really great panelists. So thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, Roberto, for inviting me and inviting us. I will leave the last word to Roberto. And thank you, everyone.
Thanks to all our guests. I think that me as together as all the attendees, I was really impressed by your talent and your passion that you put into your projects, and the combination of these two aspects make really your project something unique. And that's why you are someone in the sector, someone in the world of architecture of interior. So thank you so much. And what to say to Gwendoline? So thank you so much, because you moderated this talk as the people anchor. So really congratulations. Thank you so much. I hope to meet you all in person here in Milan, in Spazio Medelhan, or somewhere in the world where we are going to have our next physical events as well. So thank you. And to the ones who missed part of the webinar or they want to rewatch it, they can do it since Monday on medelhan.com. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Gwendoline
Bye.
and Roberto. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you, Pierre and Borina. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The same.